Channel 4's Eyewitness News, this is your local weather expert alert, brought to you by Egan Insurance Agency.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Alexandra Cranford. Just getting you a really quick update as we've had our 7 p.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center on Tropical Storm Sally. Just a quick minute here. We do have a few high cloud tops showing up, mainly on the southeastern side of the storm. Our rain here in the New Orleans area for today has kind of tapered off. Just a slight chance later on tonight, and tomorrow some scattered rain, but our effects from Sally in southeast Louisiana are not expected to begin until probably late Monday, especially late Monday night and into Tuesday. So tomorrow is actually a day with just some scattered rain. It is forecast to become a Category 1 storm and make landfall perhaps somewhere around the mouth of the Mississippi River to the Mississippi coast, and it will get drawn to the north because of first a little trough of low pressure that will pass by, and then eventually some high pressure to the north will kind of slow it down. So the forecast path is still off to the north and eventually northeast by Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll be talking about this one for several days. Hurricane watch in effect for the hot pink shaded areas, tropical storm watches elsewhere in the light pink. Our storm surge watch includes anticipated 6 to 9 feet of surge from the mouth of the Mississippi River to about Lake Borgne, and then up to about 4 to 6 or so feet along the Mississippi coast, and maybe 2 to 4 feet, especially for these along east facing shores for Lakes Maurepas and Pontchartrain. There's also a flash flood watch. Now these numbers sound really high. We'll have to see exactly where the center sets up, because just to the east there could very well be some very high heavy rain amounts, and off to the west we may see west of the center the rain gradient really showing lowered rain amounts. So we'll say for now a potential 6 to 12 inches through Wednesday night. Again, the higher amounts of that would likely be over to the east, and the National Weather Service does point out a potential 18 inches might not be out of the question under a few rain bands, especially to the east. This could be 3 p.m. Sunday, then fast forward to Monday night. We're starting to see some of the effects by the daytime hours Monday, but especially Monday night, and then into Tuesday. This is even Wednesday, and our European models showing, just take it with a grain of salt, this is not set in stone by any means, but you can see that it might still be hovering near us, as it could be a somewhat slow moving system. So if you have preparations to make, I would do those tomorrow in anticipation of our conditions probably worsening during the second part of Monday into Monday night and into Tuesday as we deal with Tropical Storm Sally, which might be a hurricane, of course, by then. We're continuing with more information on Facebook Live right now, so you can join us there. But for now, I'll send you back to regular programming.
From Channel 4's Eyewitness News, this has been your local weather expert alert, brought to you by Egan Insurance Agency.
Hi guys, I'm meteorologist Alexandra Cranford. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, we're talking about Tropical Storm Sally. So this is the 7 p.m. Saturday advisory from the National Hurricane Center, and the winds have not changed. They're still at 40 miles per hour. The gusts are up to 50 miles per hour. And just looking at the structure, we are for sure seeing some high cloud tops indicating some strong thunderstorms just south and southeast of the center. The center is here just off the coast of Florida, and the movement right now is west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. Not very fast. Pressure right now is 1,003 millibars. So you can see that it is showing some signs of some thunderstorm activity. We'll see whether this continues once it emerges a little more over the warm Gulf waters to wrap around the center a bit more. Our forecast path is off to the northwest or west-northwest, and we will see how soon it is able to strengthen over these warm waters. There's not a whole lot of wind shear, so it doesn't really look like there will be a lot to hinder its strengthening, but it is just crossing over this part of the Gulf. So it looks like it might be able to make it to Category 1 hurricane status, possibly more. We will see. But once it gets into this range, there will be some wind shear near the northern Gulf Coast by this point. So that's part of why I'm sure the National Hurricane Center has limited it to just a Category 1 in this forecast. That could change. We'll see how things play out, and we'll see how models do and so forth, handling it in the next day or so. But for now, it might be Hurricane Sally when it gets close to perhaps the mouth of the Mississippi River toward the Mississippi coast, somewhere in that range, and that that would be a Tuesday landfall. You can see its potential position Tuesday afternoon. So if you're wondering when is all this happening, as I've been stressing, it looks like near our coast we may begin to see some increasing winds gradually late Monday, kind of Monday afternoon, Monday evening, increasing a bit. But mainly it will be a Tuesday thing for most of the area, with again kind of the earliest part of any tropical storm force winds and so forth, perhaps Monday night. So just looking very quickly at that graphic, by the way, I want to show you when it might be arriving as far as the tropical storm force winds go. And this is, I hope not too confusing, but you can see the red lines showing the potential arrival time of the tropical storm force winds. So just to show you really quickly here, just a second. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to put this into motion in a second, but first I just wanted to point out Monday morning, this might be the area that's seeing tropical storm force winds, only in the Gulf and just barely getting toward Plaquemines Parish. Look how slowly it might move though. By Monday evening, this is 8 p.m., here we are with tropical storm force winds maybe making their way along the coast. It might not be until late Monday night, and then this is Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. that some of us along the North Shore, Mississippi, the New Orleans metro area might have seen the increase in tropical storm force winds. And tropical storm force means 39 miles per hour or higher. And then by Tuesday evening, pretty much our whole area may have seen at least the chance for that. And the chance, as I fast forwarded into that, I'm about to put a ton of color on here, that indicates where we might be seeing the highest chances of tropical storm force winds. Clearly the highest chance is off the coast in the orange area covering a lot of our inland spots. That's about a 70% chance to see some winds of 39 miles per hour or higher. So we could have some high wind gusts with this, and so we'll be watching for that. The other things that we're watching as far as impacts go, and I kind of want to say we get right into the impacts because of course we want to let you know what to expect, what could we get from this, but these could still change a little bit. And often they do change as we get into a day or so away from the system, or even a few hours. Sometimes, of course, we begin to see how things are shaping up. So right now what I would plan for and expect is the impacts late Monday, but especially Tuesday and lasting into Wednesday, although by that point, Sally will be farther inland and weakening to our north. The surge in coastal flooding, increasing wind by the late part of Monday. Rain through Friday, it could be up to about 6 to 12 inches, but I'll get into detail with that in just a second. And then there still could be some changes. So as for a couple of the maps that we've been showing, if you're wondering about storm surge, these numbers could change a bit, but it looks like 6 to 9 or so feet from the mouth of the Mississippi River to roughly Lake Bourne. And for the Mississippi coast, 4 to 6 feet. For the lakes, 2 to 4 feet, and this would be especially on east-facing shores because of the buildup of the winds ahead of Sally. And of course, this does not include the federal levee protection system. So if you're in that, this does not include that area. So this would be outside of the levee protection system that the storm surge watch is happening. As for the flood watch, flash flood watch until Wednesday night, now these are numbers I want to stress from the National Weather Service. So 6 to 12 inches with an isolated 18. So that's what they have outlined for the green shaded areas. So we could see that. However, a few models are showing, as I said, high totals over here on the eastern side, low totals, and a big gradient because, of course, there needs to be a space in between where people don't get quite as much as what's going on the eastern side of the system. So here is our outlook for the rain showing that gradient. So through Saturday, so this is going out 7 days, these blues show about an inch of rain. So that's what might be happening over outside of Baton Rouge. Once you get to some of our New Orleans metro area spots, much of the North Shore, you can see the colors are reds to kind of burnt oranges or yellows here. That would indicate 3+ to maybe 3 to 7 or so inches of rain. And then once you get a little farther to the east, and remember these tropical systems spin up all this moisture, they drag it in on the eastern side of the system because of the circulation around the low pressure. Once you get to that, you could be seeing some pretty high totals of maybe 10 plus inches in a few spots. So you can see why the 6 to 12 inches is outlined through Wednesday night from the National Weather Service. I wouldn't be surprised to see some lower totals, especially over to the west, because of that big drop off expected. That does depend on where the center goes, though, and as it's still just a tropical storm near South Florida, there is still time for it to shift a bit as far as that goes. A quick check on the winds that I wanted to show you. This is our European model showing wind speeds and gusts. The wind speeds are in white. The little yellow numbers on the side indicate potential wind gusts. So this is tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. It doesn't look too bad, does it? It looks like winds up to maybe 10 or 15 miles per hour. Now along the coast, getting a little breezy with those wind gusts up to maybe 20, 25 miles per hour. But we'll go forward in time here through Monday, and I'll pause it here Monday afternoon. And here we go, a couple of gusts into that tropical storm force range of 45 miles per hour or so. Other spots up to 15 to 20 or so miles per hour, possibly a bit higher sustained, and then gusting up to maybe 35 or so miles per hour. Now here, of course, is Monday night, where things are beginning to get a little more active with the center of the system getting close to our shoreline, or possibly making landfall perhaps near southern Plaquemines Parish. We will see before it continues on toward roughly Mississippi coast. But again, the exact track could still change. But this would be Tuesday morning, potentially. Again, take all these numbers with a grain of salt. We'll see things go up and down a little bit, as it's not for sure yet. But Tuesday, 5 a.m., you can see some gusts up to maybe 50 or so miles per hour. Sustained winds closer to maybe 25 or so. So that would be the time frame, especially on Tuesday, that we see some of the biggest wind effects. And then this would be Tuesday night. You can see again some gusts near 40, 50 miles per hour possible with this system. This is probably going a little on the higher end for now, but sometimes I just have noticed that it does tend to go a little bit higher. But I just want to point out that could be what we're seeing by that point. As for our live radar, we are seeing our showers kind of decreasing tonight. It's looking pretty outside. I'm looking at our camera in New Orleans, and it looks just really nice. We do have some showers heading towards St. Tammany Parish, another pocket of rain there getting close to St. Bernard and the Biloxi marshes, so we'll watch for that. But our rain chance tonight is about 30%, and then we'll get into the daytime hours tomorrow with about a 40 or 50% chance for scattered rain on Sunday. If you have preparations to do, tomorrow would be the day. Tomorrow we're not expecting effects. It'll be maybe just a touch breezy. We'll have a few scattered storms, but really the effects will be coming on Monday. As I pointed out, second part of the day, particularly late Monday night, and then into Tuesday. So this will be the outlook for our area, with high rain chances for potentially flooding rains, with the coastal flooding and storm surge Monday into Tuesday, and then likely easing on Wednesday as we see the storm moving off to the north. A couple of things to point out is that this does look like a slow moving system, which I know no one wants to hear. I want to get this thing in and out as quickly as possible and as weak as possible. But unfortunately, it looks like with the steering currents that we have, it will get drawn to the north by a little small area of low pressure, and then it looks like some high pressure may start to build back into the north, which would mean that it kind of just slows down somewhere here in the northern Gulf. So we will see about that. But that is one thing to note. That's why the rain totals are predicted to be somewhat high, especially on this side of the system. But area wide, we do have that flash flood watch in effect for almost our whole area because of that, and also the surge. That's why the surge is expected to be a bit on the higher end. If you're wondering about whether this could be stronger, yes, it could be stronger. It could be a little weaker too. We'll have to see, but there's nothing really to hinder it as it moves out over the Gulf in the next day or so. Once it gets into the northern Gulf, it looks like there will be some increased wind shear. So we will see whether that kind of limits it to Category 1 instead of a higher category. But it is possible that we could see it a little higher than that. Sometimes that can happen as they get over those warm Gulf waters. They can increase in intensity. So we'll watch for that. But this is what we're expecting at this point. So you guys, thank you for joining me. We will have more coming up on the Eyewitness News at 10. We'll have other updates on our app And of course, at WWLTV.com, we'll be with you during the day tomorrow with many updates coming as we track Sally's progression into the Gulf by that point. And then we'll have a lot of coverage, needless to say, Monday and Tuesday as this thing gets somewhat close to our area. So I'll leave you for now. I'll see you back at 10 p.m. on the Eyewitness News.